Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue our journey in discovering one more Chinese expression a day. Yesterday, we talked about 意难平. It's a contemporary Chinese, even if it was originally occurred in classical Chinese maybe hundreds of years ago. But then in the digital age, all of a sudden somebody started to use this classical Chinese expression, and then it take on a new meaning and make things more dramatic almost. Using old expression in your contemporary to describe your contemporary emotions. Basically saying like you have certain desire, either it's something you want more that you haven't had enough, so it's not appeased, or you have some negative emotions, like you feel offended or feel angry or disappointed or something, like you have this rage inside you, some strong emotions that you cannot simply couldn't put it at peace or let go, right? And then you feel not having let it out yet. So that's 意难平. We continue with 意 in today's expression. 意犹未尽. 意犹未尽 has, well, all of these Chinese characters are Chinese, right? But just like English, some English are still pretty much alive, highly used in contemporary Chinese English. But some English characters, when you see it, it's kind of dated because it was not used that often. It's not used that often in contemporary expressions. So in this Chinese phrase, we have 有 and 未. Both of them are kind of not exactly high frequency used word in Chinese. And if we want to express similar concepts, we may use other, equivalent Chinese characters. So in this phrase, when you see 有 and 未, you feel like, okay, this is a little bit dated. But it simply means this is classical Chinese, four-character Chinese formation. So 意犹未尽 has this 意 again. And here, when you say 未尽, not exhausted, that means if the previous expression is 意难平, it can go both ways. Positive emotion, negative emotion. If we can classify emotion in positive and negative, right? Here, 意犹未尽, in Chinese context, we use it dominantly, or probably universally, in Chinese expression that people don't really use it in negative ways. We only say in a positive sense, like you really feel engaged, you get activated, right? And then you want more of it, but you haven't used up your interest yet. So your interest in something is still focused and intense, but somehow it's over. It's almost like going to a concert, enjoy the music so much, but you couldn't have enough of it, but it come to an end of it. Or a movie, right? You feel like the story is still there, you want to know more, the next step or something like that, but the movie is over. So that's the kind of 意犹未尽 we're talking about. Okay, again, 意 here, we're talking about here the positive emotion. That means your interest in this thing. And this interest come basically, the two big parts are on the top, it pronounced as in, and on the bottom pronounced as 心. So in means music and 心 means heart. So heart is simple. It's just a chamber, input tube, output tube, and the tube to supply blood to the heart organ itself. So the whole thing is a structure of the heart. And the top is music. It came from vocal music, because without this horizontal line inside this box, it means speaking. With the horizontal line, it means sweetly speaking. So sweetly speaking means you're speaking melodically, right? You're speaking like your voice. It's nice to hear. Besides, the content is good. The format is pleasing as well to the ear, to the listener. So sweetly speaking end up as a Chinese way to express vocal music. that's your singing. And eventually this character get extended to all kinds of music, instrumental as well. So that becomes just music itself. So music of the heart, that is what your heart want or desire. It's coming from you. It's not forced by somebody else, or society may direct you, like it may prioritize your life in a certain way, right? But it is your heart, your personal interest that you want to spend your time, your personal time in a certain thing. That's not like related to make a living, right? But it's really what make living worth living, right? So that's the kind of intent, like that's the heart from your, the music from your heart. And this speaking we came across many times, so I'm not going to go into details about that, but basically we have the mouth, and then we have an indicator to mean what's inside the mouth, that's the tongue, and then we have two horizontal lines, that is the sound bites from the organs of speaking. So we have both the result and organ of speaking. The whole thing is speaking, and then this is the sweetly horizontal line added inside the mouth. The reason there is because when something tastes good, you want to put retain, almost like a candy. Imagine candy in ancient times. So you want to retain that sweet flavor inside the mouth for long. And so when you have something in the mouth, this basically is showing like this is the mouth, inside the mouth, to retain the flavor in the mouth, and it's like deduced like from our logic, what you want to keep in the mouth. It must be something that tastes good, right? So that's sweet. Okay, 有, we have on the left side is a side view and verticalized dog symbol. Actually, you can view this as a dog ear. This is the snot of the dog, and abstracted front leg, middle leg, and tail / back leg. So it's not exactly realistic depiction of the dog, but it got a little bit of aerodynamic view. So here is the dog symbol, and then the right side, okay, here is a wine bottle. You can see here this kind of circular container is the bottle itself, and then here the horizontal line with this two, almost like a neck thing going down. That's the stopper of the wine bottle from to prevent alcohol from evaporating, right? So it gotta be stopped somehow. This is a stopper, and this is the remaining liquid in it. So it's pretty visual depiction about this. I guess in ancient Chinese, fermented drink. So part of enjoyment of life, I guess. So we have this wine bottle visually depicted over there, and then we have this. Is it called a hyperbole? Not hyperbole. This two curves that going in a mirror image like this. That means kind of a separation. So the right side actually doesn't really add to the meaning of it much, except that the whole thing we can only. Okay, so now I'm doing reverse engineering, so to speak. So the whole character means a type of ape or animal. So we can understand, because on the left is a dog symbol, we may generalize the dog as a type of animal, right? And then the right, I say this is a wine bottle, and then this is kind of separation, because it shows two separate curves going in space, right? That means a separation. But we can also view this as almost like a ape face. Like visually you can almost imagine that looks like an ape face. I don't exactly know what that separation icon above that means. It could be some sound made by the ape, because it may let out like big noise, high volume, high pitch voice and then have the, going through the air kind of spread out like that. It may be like that. And interestingly, like in contemporary China, we don't really have much experience with apes or monkeys in the wilderness. We don't really have much of that. But in ancient poetry, it was recorded quite often. So maybe back then, like thousands of years ago, apes in the wilderness was a common thing. So that it was captured in the language, like recorded in a pretty relatively higher frequency. But in any case, the whole thing depicts a type of animal, right? Because we have this dog sign on the left. And so this is according to scholar, because I wouldn't know that this is a type of ape. Because in my contemporary experience living in this language, like I don't have experience with ape. It's only in a zoo, right? So this ape was said to have the habit of hesitate, or take caution, extra caution to do something, go anywhere, or take actions. So the language used the behavior of the ape, the type of ape that's cautious, that's kind of hesitating, pausing, thinking, maybe, to transfer that behavior to human behavior. That means hesitation, means something you are pausing, which may call for immediate action right now, but you're pausing. So eventually this character used in something you haven't taken action yet. You're still in the statement of struggling over where to go, what to do. So that's you. And, we don't really use this character in contemporary Chinese that frequent. So this was captured in the ancient time, the depiction of the ape or all that. So wei came from this tree symbol that got a canopy on the top and a vertical line that's trunk. And then I call this a spacer, and people say it's a root sign as well. So I still like my spacer theory, because we don't really have a ground level depicted over here. If it's a root, maybe a ground level like this, horizontal line to mean, okay, to make it obvious that that's the root. But what distinguishes tree from another type of plant, like a shrub, low hanging grass, right? Those are also plant category, but the distinguisher is this high standing trunk. So from the canopy of the tree to the ground level, there's a big space. So that's what tree is about. So I call it, I still think this may be a spacer is more appropriate to mean there is a big space from the top of the canopy to the bottom of the visible part of the tree. And that's a tree symbol. But then there's a second layer on top of the first canopy line. Without this first layer, it was just a regular tree, generic regular tree. And then when the second layer was added, that means a tree approaching the end of the life. Tree lives longer than humans, right, in general lifespan. And when trees have its canopy, that's kind of a double layered. Language, even if it use only double layer, that means a lot already. So we have to imagine this to be pretty densely formed canopy of the tree. So that means the tree has been standing in there for a long time, and therefore deduce this means the tree is approaching the end of its own life. So this old age tree depiction somehow in the language was used to mean a negation of the past, means something haven't happened. But it didn't say if the thing will happen in the future. So to my understanding, I mean, I try to tie this old age tree icon to depict this negation of the past, but no promise of the future. Like you don't know exactly what's going to happen. And actually, it's almost like a promise in the future is going to happen, even if it didn't happen in the past. So what is that saying? And I'm guessing probably use this old tree symbol approaching the end of life to mean death. The death of the tree is a promise in the future. It hasn't happened yet because it's still a tree, still standing over there. But as you can see, it got a layered canopy. That means it's an old tree. So in the future, it's going to, the death is going to come, but it hasn't been here yet. So that's the kind of negation here. We have a ton of negation characters in Chinese, not just not, but I have to translate it as a negation. From here, we can know this this a negation of the past, but almost like a promise. Just now I said no promise whether it's going to happen or not, but it's almost now I'm connecting the dot of the tree in the old age is like a promise of death. It's going to come. It's not here yet. So it's a kind of a negation of what we don't have in the past. And the promise to the future is going to happen. Okay, so 意犹未, not yet, right? And then 尽, I translate it as exhausted, but it means like thoroughly, because it depicts a 3-finger hand symbol that looks like this, holding a brush, like a literally drawn brush. I don't know exactly what this horizontal line serves as, but the whole thing you can hear is a handheld device that is cleaning too, right? So ancient times, they do clean their dishes, right? They don't have dishwasher. And the bottom is a type of food container. It looks like a plate on a stand, right? So this visually to show the dish cleaning, manual dish cleaning. You can visualize that, right? This is the dish, this is the hand, and this is the tool to clean in between. So dish cleaning, I guess, in contemporary as well in ancient times as well, is from a food security, food safety point of view. You got to clean it thoroughly, so that next time you serve food on it, there's no contamination of the food, right? So that's just the, almost like a survival need. You have to. So when we show the dish cleaning image of there, that means it's expected that you do a thorough job of hopefully wipe out the whatever the food left over on there, make sure it's clean, ready to use next time. So that turned out to be exhaust. So interest yet not exhausted. In the right English order would be interest not yet exhausted, right? But Chinese have the freedom to shuffle the characters around as long as they exist over here. It still like connects the dot to us. We don't have to go English grammatically correct the sequence, but logically we can still understand it. Like if you read it as word by word translation, interest yet not, still makes sense, right? Even if English we said not yet, but when we place yet not, your brain can still process that, right? So I cannot find one English word that means 意犹未尽. I can only say, okay, that means somebody want more. It's almost like encore, right? In music performance, you want musicians to provide you more performance because you definitely 意犹未尽. You're still super engaged. You want to hear more or enjoy it more. I don't exactly know why I put this poppy over there. Probably when I'm recording this, it's still kind of semi-late spring, early summertime. So it's a reminiscence of the spring, and we're kind of in a peak, like already spring peaked, and I feel the spring is too short. And that's 意犹未尽. For me, of enjoying this particular season, I don't want summer to come here too fast. I still want to enjoy spring more. So that's probably why. Okay, here we go. 意犹未尽. Catch intercancy of thinking about one. What today was Sophie doing that today?